Most of our colleagues are here. So maybe we start now. It's 4:01 in Singapore. So let me quickly share my screen.
Sorry, I see Omar has his hands
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, my email, I can join in here today, but I prefer if I can pitch in next week. I think we do have next week, don't we, as well?
Okay, so regarding pitching, we prefer everyone to pitch today because there will be a sign-up form later. We will share later. So for that, if you can share the key ideas, even if you don't have a PPT or a Word document, that's okay, as long as you share the idea with everybody. And later, maybe send us a Word or a PowerPoint document that we can have it for our reference to summarize for the form. That would be great.
That's fine. I can just share a Word document in that case.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Umar. So with this, welcome everyone to our collaboration in action idea pitching session. Thank you so much for making time, and thank you for being with us, thus far with the faculty collaborations cross-faculty dialogue phase. So today, the way the session will take place is through, a very brief introduction, and then we have 8 pitches. One of our participants will be pitching 2 ideas. So 7 of you were pitching as per our record. And so please be very, very strict with time, since we have, almost 8 pitches. We will make sure that each of you have 4 minutes to, in a brief way, pitch your idea. And then we will have question and answer session. So 3 minutes for each pitch. So in case you can't, address any idea, you will have chance to address it during the Q&A. So 3 minutes for each pitch. So in total, 24 minutes of Q&A. And then we will share some updates, especially important for those of you if you have missed the last session. So, and then we will conclude the session. So with that, let me briefly tell you about our speakers who are pitching today. We have 2 pitches from Europe. We have Dr. Wayne Holmes from University College London and Dr. Umar Shekuna from the Directorate for Digital Ministry of Education, Malta. And then from Asia, we have a lot of pitches. Very glad to see that our participants are quite active from Asia. We have Dr. Migi Sugimura from Sophia University, Japan, Ms. Juliana Jaris from National Teaching Institution, Malaysia. So for all of your reference, our colleague, Ms. Juliana, she recently changed in institution, just for your information. And then we have Mr. John Carlo Mariramos from Aston and Houston, and from Wonju Office of Education, Korea. And then Professor Maria Ruth from Philippine Normal University, who will be pitching 2 ideas. So with that, let's invite our first speaker to pitch, Dr. Wayne Holmes from University College London.
Thank you, Jyoti. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. My picture is, I'm very sorry, I don't have a presentation because I was only back from holiday yesterday.
Okay.
I do have some information that I wish to share. So firstly, thank you very much for this opportunity. I think it's great. And I think the opportunity to speak with our peers is fantastic and unusual, and we should all be really pleased about it. So what my pitch is about is for some time now, and I have been delaying it for various reasons, but now is the time. I hope to set up what, I don't have a very good title for it, but anyway, what it is a critical studies of AI in Ed international network and conference. So the reality is, as we know, AI has been researched for almost 70 years, and AI in education has been researched for more than 40 years. Now, in AI in general, in the past decade, there's been a great deal of research into the ethics and the human impact of AI. For example, there's Arvind's work on fairness. What does fairness mean? And he's identified 27 types of fairness, to give you one example. And there's the paper by Bender and colleagues on stochastic parrots, which preempted the launch of ChatGPT and all those kind of things, but has been incredibly influential. But that's AI in general. And AI in education, there's actually been very little work that's taken a critical studies perspective to the connections between AI and education. Now, I'm pleased to say that this has begun to change. So in 2021, we published a paper called Ethics of AI in Education Towards a Community-Wide Framework. And that's now been cited, I think it's 170 times already, which is amazing for a paper like that. But also last year, we published with the Council of Europe a report which was called Artificial Intelligence in Education, a Critical View through the Lens of Human Rights, Democracy and the Rule of Law. So for our colleagues who don't know what the Council of Europe is, it's older than the European Union. It is bigger than the European Union. It has 46 member states, as opposed to the EU, which has 27. But unfortunately, because it focuses on human rights, etc., it has far less money than the EU. But nevertheless, the work there is important, in my opinion. And as I've mentioned before, we're working towards legislation which will hopefully come into effect across Europe and the other countries and in order to protect young people when AI is introduced into their classroom settings. But with all that, there really isn't enough. And then all of a sudden, along came a little thing called ChatGPT. And ChatGPT, as we've said, is unquestionably amazing. But in my opinion, it's equally worrying, and for various reasons. One, because it is really good at reproducing errors. Two, it's because it's very good at narrowing the range of voices that are able to take part in conversations, because it takes the average. And so if you're a minority voice, you're excluded. Also because of the difference between the appearance, which is amazing, and the reality. And I think in education, this is particularly important, because a student might use ChatGPT to write something, and it's not the fact that they're using it that doesn't worry me at all. I think that makes some kind of sense. But the problem is that what ChatGPT and the others generate looks definitive, looks accurate, looks as if it understands what it's talking about, but it doesn't do any of those things. And that difference between the appearance and reality is something that we in education, I believe, need to be engaging with really seriously. In any case, there has been extreme promises about how these tools are going to impact on education, ranging from supporting teachers developing courses through to personalized tutors for every student. And all of this, I'm sorry, is just full of nonsense. There may be some elements of truth, but we really don't know. So as I said, my intention is to develop a critical studies of AI in international network. And for that, I'd be really interested in speaking with any of you, particularly, from Europe and from Asia. I think, we need to come together on this. And this network would lead research in developing AI Ed to the International AI Ed Society. So that's not what it's about. What it's about is the broader impacts of AI in education context, and more generally AI on everyone. So both AI Ed and also AI literacy. And by AI literacy, I mean both the human and the technological dimension. So knowing how it works, for sure, but we don't have enough research into its impact on people. So the intention at the moment is to launch this international network with an online conference, which will hopefully be hosted by EACAI in March or thereabouts next year. At that, hopefully we'll get some keynote speakers, and we would invite papers. But again, only papers that examine a critical studies approach to AI Ed and AI literacy. So I really hope that this interests some of you, and I would love to talk to you more about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Could you share a one-page or a summary with us, so that when we send out the form sign-up form, we can include the summary for participants to sign up. Thank you. Now let's have a quick question and answer session. Unfortunately, you took more time for pitching, so we'll have 2 minutes question and answer session for you. And then if you have more questions for Wayne, please feel free to use the chat box where he can reply. So anyone, questions on Wayne's pitch? By the way, lovely idea, Wayne. We hope that you can take this idea forward through this platform. I don't see anyone raising hand. Okay, so please feel free to use the chat box. If you have any question for Wayne, you can type them in the chat box. So with that, let's invite our next speaker for pitching an idea from Malta, Dr. Umar Sheguna from Ministry of Education, Malta. Dr. Umar, the floor is yours.
Okay, can you hear me? No, our idea is to include, first of all, we are focusing on our remit. Our remit is on in schools, and we are a directorate as part of the Ministry for Education. So our focus is to create a resource which includes a booklet. For example, we are thinking using a tool such as Designer. In this case, we are similar to the ones that we have created here, to give you an idea, showing how students and educators can use AI in their teaching and learning. We think that this is becoming a priority of how educators and students, it's a concern for many educators, the way the students are using AI and how the benefits of it. The activities will be proposed upon a brainstorming session from the partner countries. That's what our proposal, a tentative list of activities, which may include image editing, such as the Photoshop Beta, Image Creator, online design, such as Canva, assistive reading tools, such as the Microsoft Immersive Reader, assessment, such as the Microsoft Teams assignment, and a presentation, which is the present PowerPoint design, and many other tools which we may come up upon discussions, brainstorming sessions with the partner countries. The development and the launch process of this resource shall include the following milestones, which we are proposing: a desk research. This will be, of course, will analyze existing content, both international and national, and how it can be included in this new resource. Then we are proposing a validation hybrid workshop, where in each country, in each partner country, they will invite educators, in our case, a number of educators who may be interested to come up with ideas, and they will so to ensure that this resource is inclusive, and also it's hands-on on what's happening in the classrooms, rather than based on ideas. Then, of course, we have to create the booklet, but based upon the results of the discussions during the validation workshop, the learning activities, and so on, which will be further adapted and finalized. Upon the creation of the booklet, we are thinking of a pilot project. Somehow we have to create a pilot project where to test the activities that we have created, sort of the ideas that we have created. This may include also lesson plans, and for example, sort of lesson ideas. The final stage will be the creation of an online space for the dissemination of the resources. That is our main idea, so that to have something that will be available for educators. We are also aware of that there is a lacuna in this field. I mean, we are faced with many educators asking us about it, and despite the fact that we are talking a lot about AI, we are noticing that more needs to be done. So we think that this resource will fill the lacuna that exists. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. Do we have any questions for Omar? You can also use the chat box. Okay, maybe you will have some questions later. So with that, let's move to Asia. Let's invite our first speaker to pitch their idea from Asia, Dr. Miki Sugimura. So let me see if I can share the screen with the documents you send me. Are you ready for pitching, Miki?
Yes, I'm all right.
Okay.
Thank you, Jyoti, for sharing my
Okay.
screen. Thank you.
Okay, I am sharing the screen now, which is opening the Word file. It's taking a few seconds, sorry.
You are very kind. Thank you very much today. My Wi-Fi situation is not good. So thank you for Jyoti for sharing my document. Hello,
No worries.
everyone. My name is Miki from Sophia in Tokyo. Thank you, Jyoti. Yeah, my topic is a comparative study on the introduction of AI into schools for equitable and qualitative education. Actually, when I think about this pitch idea, I checked some survey from UNESCO, and some of you have already know, over the first few years, the UNESCO have educational institutions and countries steer the educational use of AI in humanistic directions that prioritize inclusion, equity, diversity, and quality, which is very relevant to the SDGs. So, for example, 2019 Beijing consensus also and 2021 in AI and education, the guidance for policymakers offers pointed policy advice. And finally, the 2021 UNESCO also had a recommendation on the ethics of AI, also which provides general principles to anchor sector and country-specific rules and regulations. And quite recently, UNESCO presented one of the survey result, and less than 10% of schools and universities in the world have a formal guidance on AI. Last week, I had a short presentation on my university case. And in Japan, we also have.
I think when we are waiting for Miki, maybe we can address some questions. You can type in the chat box for Omar and Wayne, as you have presented your ideas already, in terms of support from ASEF. Could you tell us what kind of support you are looking for? If you can answer your responses in the chat box, or feel free to speak up as well.
Very sorry, my Wi-Fi suspended. So sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Sorry. Okay, I must finish quickly. So my point is, if we can conduct a kind of comparative survey or examination among us, from 4 points, there are 4 points there. So what measures, if any, are being taken in each country to introduce AI into education at the government level first? And then second one is any guidelines regarding the introduction and handling of AI at participant schools or universities. If we can share some ideas, experiences, might be very interesting. And when introducing AI, if any, what should we take into consideration for learners to learn? Especially, I'm very interested in the competency-based approach. So what kind of competency, what kind of learning they are trying to thinking about when they introduce AI? And finally, what qualities and competencies are necessary for teachers when introducing AI? Last time when I had a presentation, I focused on the teachers' AI competencies, which might be very important when we think about this point. So thank you very much. This is just pitch from my side. Thank you for your kind attendance.
Thank you, Miki. We have 2 minutes for question and answers. Do you have any question for Miki? Also, question to Miki that earlier I asked Omar and Wayne. Please think of the kind of support you are looking for from ASEF, so that we can also prepare accordingly and also set the expectation for you as well. I don't see any hands raised. Please, if you raise hands, it's easy for me to spot who has questions. Otherwise, okay, everyone is very quiet today. Okay, anyways, hopefully you will have more questions later, and then we can have more time. Thank you so much again, Mickey, for proposing a comparative study. And with that, let's invite our next speaker from Asia to pitch two ideas. So Professor Ruth Regalado from Philippines Normal University. And after that, please, John Carlo, you prepare your speech.
Thank you. Good afternoon from Manila. Okay. So let me give first context on why I am proposing these two ideas. The first one is basically the impact of the little survey that we did on me, on our team. The findings that we yielded as a result of the little survey that we did among our colleagues at the Philippine Normal University revealed to us surprising results. We were not really expecting such results, but it appeared that the most critical thing there is that not everyone is prepared. Not everyone is prepared. However, when we presented this report in our July 25 meeting, several of our classmates here in our room have expressed interest in developing further the report, the research project that we initially did, by conducting the same in their own contexts. So my first idea here is to propose a global scan report where every country, every partnering institution would be conducting the survey on the issues, impact, and constraints, and then come up with a country report, at least first perhaps for a regional report and then later a country report, and consolidate these reports so that we could come up with an ASEF global scan report on the issues. But this project is particularly going to focus on the preparation of teacher training institutions. Unlike with Wayne, what he proposed actually, this is a little thing that could contribute to Wayne's project, the impact of AI on different areas of humanity. And then also on Mickey for the research on the intro of AI to schools and universities, particularly on the competencies required of teachers in introducing AI. So this is the first idea. And then this idea would yield, of course, we can expect that there will be different opportunities for us to offer our stakeholders, like micro-credentialing, training, and graduate unit equivalency, among many opportunities that we could think of as a result of the country research report. However, we would be needing support. The support would now come from the second idea that I wish to pitch, which is the creation of a support pool, which I hope to call VOLTI, volunteer lecturers of teaching with artificial intelligence collaboration. It would be an international professional organization of faculty lecturers that advocates increased technological competence and citizenship in the era of digital transformation of education. But more specifically in our area, in our context, it would be lecturers for teacher education, teacher educators, pre-service teachers, etc. It would be a pool of resource persons who offer their professional services for free to help build up teacher confidence in using AI in teaching and learning. This should be a spin-off of ASEFClassNet16 faculty collaboration. So as a result, we have the first speech, and then the opportunities now supported by a pool of lecturers who will be giving free lectures online. Thank you.
Perfect elevator pitch, Ruth. Thank you so much. Do we have any question for Ruth? I have one question. Ruth, could you very briefly share your vision for the micro-credentials? Like how do you kind of, see the practical implementation of it?
Okay, if supposing in our university, I come from the college that offers lifelong learning programs. So we are offering these in different pathways. There is formal, informal, and non-formal, the way we would define it. And the initial step there would be a micro-credential certificate, which eventually would lead our participants, our trainees, to proceed with a training program that would earn them a training certificate, which has a continuing professional development unit equivalent to be given by the government. So the micro-credentialing could be done online at the pace of our clients. So if we could come up with a pool of lecturers, the lecturers would probably have a recorded presentation of a specific topic that would later on lead to a larger training program. That's something like that, Jyoti. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a follow-up question. So you mentioned about, micro-credentials, the certificate being based in your institution. If it's a collaboration in action project, do you have any ideas how you can integrate other institutions apart from having volunteer lecturers?
I'm sorry, I did not get that clearly.
So for the micro-credentials, if you are initiating the collaboration, it will be based in your institution. However, if you would like to, engage other colleagues from the cohort, how do you have any plans, for example, to have a micro-credentials, like as a joint, kind of like a joint certificate, something like that?
Yes, that would be very possible. And I think that would be essential because the credentials will have to be harmonized with what is expected by other partner institutions. We could start with teacher training institutions in the Philippines, and then later within ASEAN, together with the ASTEN, with Japan, the other universities, and of course, Europe. We will probably have to sign up for a memorandum of agreement to do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruth. I see that there is a question from Nahid from Bangladesh for Wayne. It's a very long question. So instead of me reading it out, Nahid, could you perhaps, before our next speech, take a quick moment to address it?
Thank you, Jyoti. What I want to mean in my question is that often we see that we as an educator struggle to design our lesson plan in such a way so that we can help our learners to learn how to use this AI tool appropriately in their real life to solve the problems. Because often I see that sometimes the teachers or educators use the tools to just deliver the instruction. But what about our children or our learners? So how can we better train them to use them more appropriately? Do you know what I mean?
Okay, go ahead, Wayne.
Well, yeah, no, thanks for the question. So firstly, I'm not proposing a study. I'm proposing an ongoing network of researchers around the world who share their studies. And the only, the only rule I can think of is that we are taking a critical studies perspective on the connections between AI and education. So therefore, the kind of study that you are suggesting, looking at the ethical ways that will not impact negatively on young people, absolutely, that would be the kind of thing that we're looking for. And I would extend it. So it's not only would I be asking the question, what's the best way to do something? Because I think that kind of question is being addressed by many people. So I would slightly change the question to, should we be doing this? And in what way should we be doing this? And what are the issues that doing this raises? As I say, lots of people are interested in how do we use these tools effectively in classrooms, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But as I say, I'm more interested in questions: what happens when we use those tools in classrooms? What is the impact on children? What is the impact on teachers? What is the impact on the relationships between teachers and students, between students and students, when we use those kind of tools in classrooms? But if that makes sense to you, then I would be very happy to have further discussions about that.
Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Nahid. Okay, Patrick. Patrick raised his hand.
Yes, I'm sorry I couldn't find the digital way of raising my hand. Yes, Wayne, I do agree very much what you're saying. I would consider on the way different people conceptualize AI as a technology in their own reality, because ultimately this would influence how they will learn to ride the wave in style, survive in style, especially when we're living in a reality where things are changing so fast that you can't keep with them. So personally, yes, I am very much interested in what you're saying, and more than anything, I would prefer to focus, if I were to go for this, on how to give the right aptitudes and attitudes for even educators, on how they can perceive and channel the use of AI even in education. And while ChatGPT is very important, there are also other applications which currently are already being used. Even Canva makes use of AI. But how many schools and how many teachers, or how is the curriculum being designed to create the right ways, the right environment for AI to be employed? So that's where I stop.
Yeah, I mean, we've now had 2 ideas, both of which I think would be really interesting at the conference that I'm proposing, and both of which the kind of discussions that center on those 2 ideas will be useful for developing an ongoing international network. As I say, the problem is that most of the conversations around the use of AI in education are generated by the AI in education companies who are there to sell their products and make a profit. And I'm not, we live in a world where that happens, that's fine. But all I'm saying is we need to rebalance the conversation. And
it would be a cognitive misalignment, because the way they see things are different from the users towards whom the technology is being directed, seeing the things. So there could be a cognitive misalignment, even when it comes to the policymakers themselves. Policies have certain ideas, but how do such ideas actually go into each and specific classroom, where the reality in each and specific classroom is technically different, because you have different students, different environments, lots of different things. That's why I am inclined to focus on the way teachers and educators, not just teachers, educators in general, because they have to work together, perceive the employment of AI or the use of AI in formal education settings in classrooms, which in themselves are different. So in that case, it's very important that instead of, how can I say, polishing or fixing or rearranging the use of AI specifically for each and every classroom, which would be exponentially almost impossible to do, we have to prepare the teachers to learn to embrace change, and they, with their leadership skills, decide on the way forward on how best to employ them. Incidentally, a few weeks ago, I had a conference in the European Commission where I was talking about generative AI. I mean, how can we stop students from using AI at home to prepare their work? Definitely, I believe that we have to prepare teachers or make them aware that they have to change the way they approach this Gen Z and Gen Z Alpha generation, who are definitely different from the way we were brought up, and change their assessment to embrace the change, embrace the qualities, the new qualities that the students are bringing with them in the classroom. I mean, who am I to stop students writing on a screen because I used to write on paper? Or who am I to stop people writing from paper if I used to write on the wall? No. I mean, change is happening, so it's very important that teachers are made aware of this change and how best they can embrace it. The problem is that until I talk about a specific change, it would have changed again, because that's how fast things are changing. That's why my intention would be to focus on enhancing their attitudes and aptitudes to embrace change. Actually, and here I quote from Melanie Mitchell, who wrote a book on artificial intelligence, on how to foster the qualities, facilitate the qualities that make us human. Not just creativity, but responsibility, originality, thinking skills. These are the qualities that even are mentioned in Education 4.0, which should be even embraced by the educators themselves. I mean, I stop there, because I keep on going forever.
Thank you, Patrick.
Most
Wayne,
welcome.
if you have any comments, perhaps you can address it later after, I think after we are done with the pitches. But loving this very critical, conversations and engagement. So please do keep them coming during after each pitch as well. I saw that Omar raised his hand. Please also hold on to your thoughts if it's okay, because I'm also looking at time. So let's invite our next speaker for pitching from Asia, John Carlo. The floor is yours. And after John Carlo, please, Hewson from One to Education Office, prepare your pitch.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So I'll be pitching this project. This is project ASEF project Smart Safeguarding Morality and Accountability in Responsible Teaching with AI. Just to give you a background, my specialization is values education and character education. That's why in this project, I would like to focus on the ethical side of using AI in educators. And this project it intends to produce modules and materials for teachers and education leaders to guide them on how to on the responsible use or ethics in using AI. So these are the objectives. Develop modules that will help teachers understand ethics in using AI, emphasize responsibility and accountability of teachers and school leaders in AI in education, and advocate for AI policies and collaborative initiatives towards ethical use of AI. And I think this is somehow an expansion of what ASEAN has developed, the toolkit for promoting media literacy. So when it was developed, AI was not yet a hot topic during that time. And of course, this is still open for suggestions and ideas from our colleagues here in the Zoom. And these are the possible topics to be included in the module. So this is just a result of my quick literature review on what to cover, what are the possible coverage. First is the ACE in AI principle, the always center educators in AI. What are the necessary support and safeguards for students and teachers, and the decision-making process, balancing the decision making to improve equity, reduce bias, and increase cultural responsiveness in the use of AI-enabled tools and systems. And I think this is a developing term, the AI Bill of Rights, and then human-centered principles and foundations for formulating and developing and formulating policies and aligning AI to school policies. Basically, this is just to give teachers and idea and knowledge on how to responsibly use AI while maximizing its opportunities, and also helping them and their school leaders develop sound policies that would support responsible use of AI, because we cannot take it away anymore from our education setting, but what we need to do is to regulate and teach teachers and students and education leaders on how to responsibly use AI. And in the end, it's the teachers and education leaders who will set the moral compass in using AI in education. It's not the AI itself. So it's very important that we set the moral compass straight by capacitating our teachers and education leaders. So that's all for my presentation.
Thank you, Carlo. Can I ask a question before?
Sure.
Because I don't see any hands raised yet. You mentioned about ACE in Principle 1, so
Yes.
where always centering the educators. Why not learners? Because teaching and learning, it's both ways, right? Could you clarify?
Because actually the ACE principle, if I'm not mistaken, the ACE principle is coming from a perspective of the teacher designing the learning experience, the teaching learning experience. So it should be the teacher. For example, AI can help the teacher in creating assessment, in creating the instrument, but what the learners really need in the classroom, it's the teacher's responsibility. So that's I think the always center educators, because they're the ones they're the decision makers inside the classroom. They should only be supported by AI.
Thank you. But I think when it comes to classroom, in terms of making decisions about teaching and learning, it has to be both teacher and learners.
Right.
So I think this is something we can also
something we could
think
consider.
a bit more. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Carlo. So with that, let's invite our next speaker for pitching. Hyo-sun from Wonju Education Office, Korea. And then please, Miss Juliana, prepare. I haven't heard from you. I texted you whether your microphone is okay or not, but please do let us know. Hyo-sun, the floor is yours. Thank you.
So I'd like to share my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. So, I mean, before pitching my ideas, I'd like to start by introducing the Wonju Education Scare Festival to you first. And because I'm a designer of this festival, I'd like to pitch my idea on this festival. Actually, Wonju 교육 한마당, Wonju Education Scare, I just literally translate the Korean into English. I'm not so sure whether it is understandable or not. It's a kind of educational fair in Wonju area in Jeollabuk province. And the goal of Wonju Educational Scare is to share the outcomes through the years from the teachers, parents, and the community educational list from 51 elementary and middle schools in Wonju area. And through the year, all of them, the conducted kind of projects include creative curriculum implementations and student clubs and teachers learning communities and collaborative working with school and community educators. Yeah, so Wanju Educational Scare, the festival, consists of two parts. The first part is cultural scare. So it is led by the youth, the students. They perform their activities, what they learn from, the club activities. So they present their products, the learning products, and also they perform what they practiced, like their musical instrument or their scientific skills, something like that. And the second part is academic scare. So the academic scare consists of sharing teaching the lessons, teaching cases for the enhancement of educators' instructional expertise. And we sometimes host the education seminars for parents and forums for the educations in Wanju area. So we'd like to provide the people and educators the opportunity to exchange diverse teaching practices and encourage one another and foster mutual growth. So this year, the Wanju Education Fair will be held from the October 26th. The October 26th is the opening day, but the specific dates are not decided yet. But for the forum, academic part, academic scare, so I'd like to prepare some kind of forum or conference or seminar, so which is similar to this kind of discussion. And I'd like to set the theme for the academic forum, AI in education. And that's I'm in the brainstorming phase. So I'd like to include some themes like what is AI and use of AI in the classrooms, AI and ethics, and sharing the international teaching cases or the international situations, policy makings, something like that from many expertise, international expertise. So my ideas for collaboration is to, so I'd like to get some help in designing the programs for international conference. And I need to invite the speakers for the whole sessions. And I'd like to get some help from experts. What content should I include in the academic forum or academic conference? And my main problem is that I'd like to come up with an ideas to overcome the language barrier, because the main target audience of this forum or conference, seminar, workshops, anything, are the teachers who cannot speak English very well, or sometimes don't understand the English. But I think our discussions in the area of AI in education was very valuable. And I'd like to open a learning session for the teachers in Korea, South Korea, to learn about the new trend of AI in education. And I hope many teachers to join the session and fully understand the lectures and discussions. Yeah, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Yesun. So with that, we are done with the pitching because our last speaker, she's having some trouble. So I think we will share the summary of her pitch in the sign-up form so that you can have an idea and then decide to sign up. So let's have maybe some some time to critically reflect on the pitches presented today. Do you have? I saw that Omar earlier, you raised your hand. Do you have any comments and also any concluding comments from any of you? Regarding, it could be regarding the support you are looking for in terms of your pitching. It could be if you want to join, force with another speaker who pitched today, so then we can combine the ideas and have it as one pitch when we send out the sign up form. So please feel free to, I see that Ruth raised hand. Sorry, Ruth, go ahead.
No,
Yes.
thank you very much. No, I just lowered my hand because I have commented in the chat box. And what I meant is that from our experience, there's even lack of information, even of already existing educational tools, let alone of how the industry is progressing so fast, knowing the number of graduates in this field already.
Thank you, Omar. Ruth, go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, I would like to, because I think I'm having trouble understanding the English of several of our classmates because you have your own accent. I would just like to request for those who have pitched their ideas to please explicitly tell us what roles you expect us to perform when we join your idea. So for example, with Wayne, I understand that he's going to conduct a research conference. So I think if I'm correct at understanding, you are expecting us to join you as a paper presenter or something. So kindly just please clarify the roles that you expect from us. Thank you.
Wayne, do you have any comment for Ruth?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's very open. I don't have specific roles in mind. This is an idea I've been playing with for months, years in my head, but I need people who are interested to work with me to help develop this. And to do it, across the world is obviously the stronger way to go. So if you're interested in my proposal, then tell me in what way you're interested. What would you like to do? How would you like to participate? For example, you could say, well, I would like to submit a paper to the conference you're suggesting. Or you could say, I'd like to review submissions for that conference. Or you could say, I'd like to help organize that conference or help organize the network. At the moment, I'm interested in any early conversations of people who are interested in working with me to help make this a reality. I don't have any specific roles in mind, but just your help and a decision as to how you would like to be involved.
Thank you, Wayne. And that brings me to my next slide, where we are going to kind of address a little bit of practical issues as well. So let me quickly share. I hope you see my screen. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Angie, for confirming, because when I share my screen, I don't see anyone. So thanks, Ruth, and thanks, Wayne, for clarifying the realistic expectations and also the status as well. So today we had the pitching session, of course, where you took the time to pitch your idea. So thank you very much for that. And now, what we would like to request you, if you could send us one paragraph. It doesn't have to have everything in place regarding your pitching or implementation plan, but if you can send us a precise, like very short paragraph that precisely tell us what exactly the idea is about and what are the potentials and potential impact as well in the future, so that we can include it in the sign-up form, and then we can share with everyone who want to sign up for the ideas. We would like to encourage everyone to, participate in multiple ideas. However, for practical reasons, we highly encourage that each of you select one idea to join. And the conversations we are having today regarding practical challenges or practicalities of the implementing the pitches, we will have more time to brainstorm after we kind of allocate you in a team on 22nd of August, where we will be brainstorming depending on who you partner with. So we'll have a specific breakout rooms where before the session, we will request you to also prepare a set of practical questions that you can address and talk to each other. So that will be more focused and more team-based, as opposed to as a break group like today. And then you will have some time to talk to each other and then submit a formal proposal where the ideas are clearer, and then we will take it from there. You will have an opportunity, depending on the funding, depending on the status of the idea, collaboration in action idea that you have. Some of you, we hope that all of you can join. Hopefully we will see you in Slovenia as well, and then there will be some opportunities to strengthen the idea and also discuss potentially applying for external grant, or having support from different channels, so we can discuss that as well. And then, of course, we'll have a concluding session where we can finally in December see the status and then the next step that we can take. So regarding the sign-up form, as well as indicating whether you can self-fund your participation for the conference or not, we will share it with you tomorrow, and then you can share it with us by Sunday. Apologies for the short time. We also had to kind of, for practical reasons, squeeze it in, as soon as we can to make some internal decisions as well. So we would really appreciate your kind cooperation on this. If you can send us the sign-up from by 20th August, it will be highly appreciated. With that, I don't have anything to add. And we have 1 minute. If you have any more questions, any concluding thoughts, feel free to, raise them now. Yes, Ruth, go ahead.
August 20 is too soon for us. It takes a really long time for our top management to decide on whether, if we seek support, if they can provide, it would take a longer time.
Yeah.
Can you please extend that August 20 deadline?
Yes, absolutely. So when we for August 20th, we will discuss internally in terms of the proposal, if we can give a deadline, but we will definitely consider that. But for the proposal, just to give you a bit of the realistic expectation, we are not asking for a lot. So that at least from our side, we have the solid team, and solid partner who is collaborating with who. And then if there are anything that is internally, pending approval from your side or from our side, we can discuss that later. For now, we are focusing more on having a team together, and having a solid idea together. And perhaps the ideas will change depending on the approval, depending on also the direction you want to take, because it will be your project and you will own it as well. So, but we will get back to you regarding the proposal deadline. Nahid, go ahead.
Thanks, Jyoti. I don't have any question. I have a request to you. I'm wondering if it would be possible for you to send us the recording recording of today's discussion.
Recording of today's discussion?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Give us some time. We will try to do it by tomorrow. Recording from last session and this session together. We will send these two plus the sign-up form.
Yeah. I will highly appreciate it if you could send it quite early.
Yeah, of course. We have that in mind. Thank you, Nahid. Do you have any other questions? I see that. Yes.
Can you share again the slides so that I recheck the dates,
Of course. So we will create a Google folder and then or Dropbox, and then we will upload all the slides as well as the pitching from today. So we will do that. And to our speakers who pitched today, again, thank you so much. Please don't forget to send us one summary paragraph by today. I know the time is a bit short, but we also need to send out the sign-up form tomorrow morning. So please do send that to us. And we are looking forward to receiving your confirmation through the sign-up form, and as well as looking forward to seeing you on 22nd of August for the brainstorming and partnering session. So thank you for staying a few more minutes after the session, and have a lovely day in Europe and a very lovely evening in Asia. Thank you. See you
Bye.
see you next week. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.